Welcome to the Wild Type Podcast. I'm Neptune the Chameleon.
I'm Lyssa's Lizards.
And we're your reptile girlies. Okay, I need to know, are you recovered or are you still exhausted?
Yeah, I'm still not good.
I also am still recovering from this past weekend, so hopefully you guys have tuned into the episodes that we did live from the show, but this past weekend was NARBC Dallas.
So freaking fun. Our very first show ever vending for anything, but specifically the podcast.
So this will be, we did an NARBC Dallas recap episode previously, the first time that they vended in Dallas, and so we wanted to make sure we made the effort to go to that show, and we have future shows planned, but you are correct in that this will be completely different recap for you guys because it was a completely different experience for us.
But not only just like for NARBC, but like in general, like we've never done this.
Yes. So for anyone who's maybe not familiar with reptile expos, they're just rows and aisles of all these booths and tables, and we have been to countless.
So many. I mean, I think
expos.
I think I started going in potentially like 2016, 2017. When did you start going to expos?
Yeah, like 2019 maybe?
Yeah. So we've both got at least like 5 years under our belts. And that's like multiple shows a year, right?
Yeah.
So we've been to dozens.
We've done small ones, big ones, local ones, out of state. Like we've been to a bunch. But this is our very first time vending where we are not the ones walking through the aisles. We are the ones that are being walked by.
Yep.
So I feel like we should go back in time because we started prepping for the show in like July.
No, maybe before. It might have been end of June.
But I feel like July is like when we really were like, okay, the show's like 2 months out. We got to get our butts in gear and actually like get stuff done.
100%. We had to order banners. We had to order t-shirts. We had to design the t-shirts.
We gotta like step back a little bit and like walk the people through. So all we have at this point is an 8x10 table.
That's it.
And it's like the best and worst because you can make it whatever you want it to be. And so we had to brainstorm. We're literally like doodling. We both got a piece of paper.
We had sketches.
And I was like, what's in your head? What's in my head? And let's like compare. And they were honestly very similar.
They were I was actually like really proud and impressed with us because I was like,
I'm not surprised because we were just like on the same wavelength with a lot of things.
Most things I feel like we have pretty much the same plan in our heads.
Especially when it comes to the podcast.
Yes.
We're like very rarely do we have like different names.
I mean, from day one, we were like, no, we both had like a very similar vision of like what we wanted this to look like.
So how the booth turned out was not exactly our original plan. So banners are very common at reptile expos. Typically you have a table that's either having the animals or supplies that they're selling. Behind them, they'll have some sort of graphic or banner that will have their brand or logo colors, something like that. So that's where our brain defaulted to because that's what's standard for reptile expos. So we know we wanted like a tall, skinny, vertical
like
banner.
The pull-up ones that are, so we knew we wanted a tall and skinny one, and then we wanted a backdrop.
Yes. And so what we were originally thinking was like a black backdrop with like small little
wild type logos.
And then like a colorful vertical banner. We thought this would be really complimentary.
Would have been super cute. Like, don't get me wrong. Would have been great. Was a great idea from the get-go.
And we wanted a neon sign, which you guys now obviously see in our episodes, and that was kind of like twofold. We'll get it for the episodes,
the shows,
but then we can also bring it when we go to in-person stuff. So I was looking at a vendor because we wanted like obviously a custom sign. So like we were looking for different places to buy from, and I was like shopping around, scrolling through this website, and I saw these sparkle like glitter walls.
Yeah, disco walls.
Disco walls, and everyone called it this week, and I was like, that's the perfect word for it. And I literally sent a screenshot and sent it to you.
And I immediately was like, that's it, we're doing it, we're done. But like, buy it, we're good. That's the plan.
Like, this is it. We 100%. Have to.
No, because it was such a like, at least, you know, in my opinion, our opinion, it was a showstopper. Like it was, you could see the sparkle.
So I edit all these podcast episodes. This is a note to myself. I will insert. I don't like to put B-roll in episodes because I feel like it gets, too much.
But this is deserving.
For this one, I will put a clip right here showing you guys the disco wall in full effect because It was absolutely stunning. The amount of people who stopped just because of our disco wall, which is the whole point of it, is to get some attention. But honestly, it was so on brand for us.
100%. I mean, literally our stickers also are sparkly,
like holographic stickers. They looked so good next to the sparkle wall.
So good.
Also, no one else does this.
Nope.
Neon signs, a couple people will do neon signs. And when we went to LA Pet Fair, we were strategically like looking at people's booths of like what caught our eye, and the neon signs always caught our eye. And then no one has a sparkle wall. Well, maybe I'm sure other shows, but like not that we've seen.
Not that we've seen.
Sparkle wall.
And we'll get into there are reasons why a lot of people don't do the sparkle walls.
Yes,
I'm sure. So we'll get into that. But
so we had to plan out our whole banner and booth and everything else. So we knew we wanted to do that. We knew we wanted to do stickers, but doing merch. Because up until this point, we've done an online merch shop, which is low effort for us. Because we just upload the designs. Yeah. And then
they fulfill all the orders. We don't have to
They do shipping. They also take a good chunk of the pay, it's
certainly a lot less profitable.
Yes. But it's convenient. And so and it integrates into YouTube. Fantastic. Love that. But we wanted to have actual shirts in person.
Physical shirts that we could hand to people, give it to them, all of that in person. We didn't want to be like, here's an iPad, order your shirt. We
wanted something you can walk away from. Yes. And this was a slightly strategic business decision because at reptile expos, people are typically selling animals that can be anywhere from $50 to $50,000.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not 50,000.
Well, that's a bit much. That's a rare find.
We did see one at Tinley one year where there was a snake that was no one bought it. But besides the point. Yeah. But $5,000 for sure, you can drop $5,000 on a snake, no problem.
Easily, yeah.
So what is something that someone could spend and walk away from without feeling like they're breaking the bank? And so a t-shirt we thought was super doable, but we didn't just want podcast logo shirts.
Yeah. So we wanted to come up with at least a couple of other designs that were a little more fun than just a logo shirt, you know? And because we obviously love our logo and we hope that you guys love it too, but we wanted something a little bit more on brand for us that's a little bit more out there.
Mm-hmm. So I my brain just is nonstop podcast ideas. So I had two different ideas. One, reptile girlies, right? Because that
was a no-brainer. We had to do it.
We want reptile girls, but we did what do we want it to look like in very girly 70s Barbie, pink and purple, kind of vibes. And Logan designed the shirts.
They're so good.
I had it in my head and he did exactly what we were hoping.
Yep.
So it turned out fantastic.
So if you got a reptile girly shirt, honestly, the reptile girly shirt or the logo shirt, my cutie little hubby designed them. So
he'll
appreciate the shout out.
No,
but
the In My Reptile Mom era, I designed that one.
You did all that. Yes, that was impressive.
So we had this other one. It was a cute baby pink that said In My Reptile Mom era. And this was also a strategic decision because if you don't listen to the podcast, if you don't know about the podcast, which most people at the show probably weren't going to know that, and that's totally fine. You're not going to care about a reptile girly shirt and you're not going to care about podcast logo shirt.
Nope.
So what's some merch we can design that is appealing to our target audience?
Anyone.
Yes, but anyone who's not necessarily a podcast listener.
Yeah.
And if you're a Swiftie or even if you just live on planet Earth, you know the whole In
Eras
My era.
tour. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But no one does reptile mom merch.
No,
it's
nobody.
In My dog mom, in My cat mom, in My hamster mom. No one does reptile mom. And so I was this is a low hanging fruit.
Oh yeah. And it was one of our best sellers.
It was the best seller.
People loved it. It was
our top seller for the weekend.
And it was a little bit more simple than the other design. So
flashier,
the reptile girlies one was, a little bit of a pop of pink, more fun.
Yeah, very punchy.
And then this one was just a very simple, very, great design, but just simple and easy. So also for people who, didn't want something as poppy.
It's a different vibe. Yeah. And not everyone's going to want a flashy shirt.
No.
And some people do want the 100%. Colorful. So it was nice to have
just a mix of both. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had to design them. We had to find a vendor to produce them, and that was a
That was a lot.
A whole thing. We didn't find one that we liked as far as like pricing, quality, availability, everything else until like 2.5, 3 weeks before the show.
I think it was barely 3 weeks. And we were like, can you get it here on time?
Yeah. So we got that done. We had to decide how much were we willing to spend.
Yep.
Because we now own over like 100 t-shirts.
Because we didn't sell all of them. So like we're going to take them to future shows and things. So it was definitely.
So it was an investment. It's capital on our part. So both of us had to have conversations of like, how much are you willing to put into this and how much, and we had a little bit of money from the podcast, but like we had to shell out our own personal money.
A good chunk,
for the booths and for the shirts and everything else. So that's
the sparkle wall, the banners, all the little details, all the stickers, everything.
Yep. Yeah, we had we had 1,000 stickers.
A lot of stickers.
We had to pay for those. We did decide to give the stickers away for free, though.
We did. And I do think that was a good call. I think that's such like a fun thing. And also like there are so many kids who like stickers and it's, it's a form of promotion and advertisement for us too. So I think it was a great call and people loved them, which is, super fun.
So we spent literally months planning all this out, finding vendors, designing banners, designing t-shirts, designing stickers, like going through different versions and iterations, all on top of filming regular podcast episodes, doing our day jobs, taking care of our like scaly critters, our furry critters, like in the rest of our lives. So it's been a lot, but to see it to come to fruition was like fantastic.
It was so cool when we got the booth all set up and how it all looked. I mean, it was just exactly our vision.
We can tell people like, prep.
The process.
So the show was Saturday, Sunday. Vendors get to set up on Friday. You could do, it was like pretty much all day you had to set up. So we ended up rolling in the afternoon. And so it took us 3 hours.
Yeah.
3 hours to set up the booth. Now keep in mind, I think next time we do it, it'll be faster. Yeah. But like we're laying out the table for the first time, the sparkle wall.
And the sparkle wall is a little bit of
let's
a
talk
chore
about that.
to put together.
So we did measure out what we wanted, but we had never assembled it. I one night was on TikTok just watching like sparkle wall assembly videos, and we did put up half of it.
Yes,
to try
in your
out.
house beforehand. We like took everything over there and got it all. We put like the half of it, but we didn't want to put it all together just to tear it down and put it back up. So we did half of it, and we were like, okay, this is the right width. This is the right, whatever.
Yes. And so they're little squares, like panels, and then they pop into each other like little puzzle pieces.
Click in and out, and they came with this little like tool that you can pop them into place. But we very quickly realized that using that tool popped them in a little too permanently.
Too snug. Yeah, because they fit as like a hole in a peg type of situation. And we just like put them together. I didn't think like overly tight.
No,
but, like,
I didn't think so either.
We definitely like made them snug because you didn't want them to come apart. Well, then we had to take them all apart.
It was not fun.
That was horrible.
No.
They were like stuck on there. And this is like Amazon plastic.
Yeah, okay, and so we were terrified we were going to break
them. Yeah. We both ended up like scratching ourselves in the process.
And like important note, this was also the week before the show. So like if we broke these pieces, we don't have time. We have no backdrop. So like
we did have a couple spares, but yes, to your point still.
But like worst case scenario, what if we broke like 5 of them? Yes. It was like, nope,
or what if we can't get them apart at all? Because that's what I was worried about, because they have to like take them all apart and stuff. So
it was a little bit of a.
So when we put it up the day of, for like the actual show, we like put them together and just gently
did some zip ties just to be safe.
Yeah, gently did it. Yeah. So I think the prep was like pretty smooth. I think moving forward be faster. We also had to figure out how we were going to hang the neon sign on the sparkle wall. We added little fans to the corners to like,
because we had to make the disco tiles move. They kind of flowed and made it extra sparkly.
Yes. Also, our booth placement. So that's a thing. Yes. So as a vendor, that matters. As an attendee, you don't really care.
You don't even think about it.
No. Yeah. So the top spots are going to be at the front of the show, and then they're going to be in like the middle aisles. Yep. We originally got put on the very corner next to the men's bathroom.
Not even the women's.
That's the thing too. Like,
if it was the women's, we would have been happy. We've been getting all the lady foot
target
traffic,
audience,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
no, this is literally the distance from me to her is how close we were to the entrance to the men's bathroom.
I know.
In a giant trash can.
Which, like, first off, this is our very first booth ever, right? So we're aware we get like the lowest priority.
Yes,
like we're just starting out.
There is seniority with the shows. 100%. We're so understanding of that.
Yeah. So like it's not like we were annoyed about it. We were just like
comical.
It was just really funny. We were like, oh, hey guys.
Literally, like, we're a girly reptile podcast and we're by the men's bathroom. I was like, of all places, this is great.
But we would have made it work.
Absolutely.
However, we didn't have to make it work because we had a lovely little situation happen in the middle of us setting up. Mm-hmm. So basically we had the sparkle wall, I think like halfway.
Yeah.
So we had it about halfway. And then one of the people who kind of helped set up the show and
coordinator or something.
Coordinates all of it. She came over and was like, hey, do you guys potentially want to move over to this? She gave us a couple of options, right? Mm-hmm. And so we were looking and we were asking her, we were like, what gets the best foot traffic? Like, we don't really know, what do you think? Yeah. And then ended up, the situation worked out that we got more in the middle and we got 2 booth spaces instead of 1.
Yes.
Which was such a game changer.
Yes, because we would have been fine in the one space. We had planned for that.
Yeah.
Whatever. But it was cool because then we could have like the podcast
in like
set.
one area.
Yeah. And then we could have like the merchant table on the other side.
Also was really nice because it totally opened up our booth space to where people could come and feel a little bit more like inclusive on the inside of it too. Mm-hmm. And like when talking to us, it didn't have to be all kind of like pushed on the outside.
Yeah.
So it was a really great setup.
We're like, yeah, sure. But we were like, we didn't plan for this.
We're like, we don't know what's happening right now, but we'll take it.
We'll take it. So that actually worked out, I think, really, really well for us. So.
I mean, big time. Like any of our other booths are going to be smaller moving forward.
Yes. So that was fantastic. It worked out like
perfectly.
All those times I've led in semi trucks during traffic, like the karma points have like come back around.
For sure.
So we got all set up on Friday. We were both like exhausted after that, but also I was like could not sleep.
So excited.
I was so excited.
It was like Christmas morning. We were so excited. But a combination of Christmas morning excitement and a smidge of anxiety of just doing something
nervousness.
New.
Yeah.
Like, we definitely had
are we going to sell any shirts? Is anyone going to know who we are?
Does anybody care?
Yeah.
Like, is anybody going to want the free sticker that we're giving out? We don't know.
Like, no, I don't want your sticker.
We literally had no idea what to expect.
Yeah. So then on Saturday, it opens to the general public at 11 a.m., but VIPs get in at 10 a.m., and then vendors can get in at 7 a.m. So we showed up at 9 to get everything all situated, and we're sitting in a good spot, and then VIPs started to roll in. So I feel like there was like a good amount of foot traffic in the morning. Yeah,
it like kind of came through a little bit. There was a line out the door at the first thing in the morning, but because our booth was a little bit more towards the back, people kind of trickled in a little bit slowly. Yeah, they have to work their way
through the booth. So we were selling merch, but we were offering these free stickers only if you follow the podcast.
Yes, that was the one requirement.
Yeah, because for us, it's not about like selling shirts, right?
No,
like that's obviously cool and like would love to like do that, but it's getting listeners and potential viewers and people who can be a part of the community.
And also just exposure because, right, like we've been, like we said earlier, like we've been going to these shows for so many years. The first 2 times that I went to an expo, I was like a kid in a candy store, had no idea. I didn't recognize any names. It was anything. And now after like the second or third show, I'm like, I've seen that table before. I know who that is. I know what they are. I know what they sell. Like, and so it slowly starts to like get to a point where people know the tables and know the booths. And we hope that eventually, going to more shows like this will eventually get to the point where, people recognize this and they're like, oh, that's that Reptile Girly podcast.
Yes.
Like that's part of the goal is just like getting more listeners and getting to the point where people in the hobby know what we're doing and know what we're about.
And we're in a little bit of a unique position too, because most vendors are breeders or selling animals or selling supplies. Very rarely do a podcaster or content creators because their platforms are online. So it doesn't always make sense to be in person. But this was a really unique opportunity because we got to meet people and it was so cool to watch people like walk by and then they kind of like look and they're like,
What is that?
Like a girly reptile podcast? And so it was really cool to see. And like, I'm a little more salesy than
a little. You are very, very, very good at that stuff in the best
so
way.
I'm literally just standing there and I'm like, do you like podcasts? Do you like podcasts? Oh, did you get an animal? What'd you get? Do you like podcasts? And
so just know, if you ever come to our booth, she will probably approach you before you even say hi.
Yeah. But it was really cool because people would be like, yeah, I love podcasts.
No, it was cool.
And I'm like, oh, do you keep reptiles?
Yeah.
Some people said yes. Some people said no.
Which is also so interesting, just in general. So we'll get into that, but that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, what do you keep? Oh, we're on YouTube, Spotify. Where do you like to listen to your podcast? They would give us a follow. Right now, as we're filming, we've already had a couple of people either DM us or comment on a video being like, I found you guys from NRBC. I've been like binge listening or watching whatever, all your episodes, like so hyped about it.
Seriously, like there was one DM that just made me a little teary-eyed because it was so sweet. I was like, that's why we did it. Yes. I'm so glad you found us.
Yes.
Like,
so there was immense value in meeting people, getting our word out there, also with other vendors, right? Because they're like, oh, who's the sparkly wall over there?
We had a lot of vendors asking about the sparkly wall.
Yeah, it worked like a charm.
We were like, don't steal our idea, guys.
Just you wait. We did it first, okay? Just put it out there. No, it was good. Another unique thing about doing this is we had the opportunity to do in-person episodes with guests.
Yes, and that was so fun. And we wanted to do live episodes, and we decided this was going to be the first time we opened it up to guests too.
Yes,
which was so
you
cool.
may have noticed we have over 40 episodes and not a single guest.
Yes.
Now, historically, other reptile podcasts lean heavily
on guests. And interviews just in general.
Yes, and that is the appeal. They're bringing in new opinions, new personalities, new experiences, and like having more interview-based style podcasts.
And that has a lot of value.
Absolutely.
A ton of value. And we've definitely gotten some feedback and things, and it's, not that we don't want, any of those other opinions and things like that. We totally welcome those. For us, it's more just about the setup and having all that in-person
conversation versus like they're on Zoom,
right?
And like we're streaming over here, and being able to have that like authentic in-person conversation, I think is like really special.
It's so important and special, and we just don't want to risk that. And so that's why we wanted to do specifically at shows. That's our opportunity where not only is everybody there in person, but like they can come and join in with the whole setup the way that we like it.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a more novelty thing.
Yes.
Right? So I think that makes it fun too.
Super fun.
So we had 3 guests on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Do you kind of want to like share your 2 cents on that?
So we just kind of wanted to split it up that way. And we wanted to have a little bit more on Saturday because that's like the busier day, the busier show. But so wait, do we want to get into what happened between Saturday and Sunday?
Let's just start with Saturday. Like who were our guests? Okay. Give the people a little rundown.
So our very first guest was Dr. Rachel Sue. She is a wonderful exotic veterinarian. She sees all animals, not just exotics. She sees everything. So
that was a really cool,
super cool
really
combo.
Cool perspective.
Yeah.
I also don't necessarily want to get into the nitty gritties of the episodes.
Oh, fair.
Because you guys can go check them out.
Yeah.
Day 1 is on YouTube only.
Yes.
We did live stream it, which there was like 3 people watching. So
yes, there were only 3 people watching. There was no Wi-Fi. It was a little bit too blurry for our preferences.
Yeah.
So that was what I meant with like the difference between Saturday and Sunday.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Basically, so Saturday we did it live, which we were really excited to do, but we kind of like looked at it after the fact,
quality,
and we were like, ooh, that's not quite up to our quality standards. So Sunday we came back and you kind of brought it up and I was like, I'm really glad you said something.
Yeah, so we filmed it like we do with our normal podcast. So that's also available on YouTube and Spotify because we do have the audio clips from those. But if you want to listen to the episodes, like please check them out. But yes, we had Dr. Rachel Sue. We had Stacy, who's a carpet python breeder. That was really cool to have their perspective. And then we had Amanda, who's a chameleon breeder.
Yes, and we love
an artist.
them.
Yeah.
She's we love both of them. It was all just wonderful, honestly, and just having 3 cool ladies join in the pod was such a fun experience.
Yes. So something that we haven't gotten a chance to like debrief on that we didn't discuss obviously in the live stream or episodes because it was happening. What was it like to have guests?
Honestly, you're right. We haven't even discussed this yet. It was interesting. So I will say, if you guys do go back and listen to the Saturday one, I totally was so nervous to have guests. And I didn't even realize it. I'm not one of those people that like always realizes my feelings like or far enough in advance, basically. So like in the moment, I realized I was nervous for the first time. And so I was like opening up the very first interview with very sweet Dr. Rachel. And I didn't even intro her. I just jumped right in because I was so nervous.
Yeah.
And I felt so dumb immediately. I was like, I cannot believe I just did that. But you know what?
Right. That's why there's two of us. Because I was like, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was just so anxious and I didn't even realize. I was like, I felt so confident.
Yeah.
But then sitting in the
different.
chair with somebody else and asking them questions and, you know, doing it that way and doing it in interview style almost was like just a whole other experience.
It felt like it moved quick but slow at the same time.
Yes.
I felt like time was moving
100%.
slow, but the conversation was moving fast.
Absolutely. That's exactly how it felt. Yes.
Yeah. And versus like when we're chatting, I have like no sense of time.
Literally, it could have been 3 hours. Like
So it was just very different. And this was unique in that we had like told each guest, please arrive at this time.
Yes.
You know, so we knew we had 20 minutes with each guest. And I was like,
we were like on a schedule.
I'm like, okay, it's been 15 minutes and we like asked all our questions. So like, what do we do?
Now we just got to riff for 5 minutes. Yeah.
So, and then like having questions prepared beforehand, I think was really helpful.
100%.
And we also very intentionally did not just be like, so tell me about your reptile keeping journal.
Right. Yeah.
Journal journey.
We specifically hand selected all of our guests because of what they bring to the table in different ways.
Their
right?
experiences. Yeah.
So we had a veterinarian, we had 2 breeders, we had a content creator and a breeder. And then we also, who am I missing?
The Adeline Arts.
Yes, we had an artist and specifically an artist who draws reptiles, which was so cool.
Yep, Amanda does art stuff and Stacy is a mom. And so like they all also had like unique perspectives of like just like a true reptile girly, which was what was like so much fun.
Yeah.
I will say I am so much more comfortable just talking with you and not having guests. And I have so much admiration, kudos to anyone who does interview-based podcasting.
Truly, there's a reason we didn't want that to like necessarily be our
bread and butter.
Yeah, because
on occasions, fine.
Love 100%.
That, you know?
Like love it at shows too, because that's such a whole different vibe for shows, which it just makes it, like you said, more novelty and more fun.
Yeah.
But I am way more comfortable this way as well. Like, and don't get me wrong, they were all wonderful to talk to. Loved chatting with them. The conversation was great and flowed so well with pretty much every single one of them. It was just the interviewing aspect that I personally am not used to.
For sure. Yeah. And I think it's like something that would come with time, because I know we were like more nervous when we were first doing our episodes versus now. Like I know we're more confident and comfortable.
So true. It's just like, because like you said, from day one of this podcast, we've gotten way more comfortable and now we're way better. So we'll eventually get better at the live shows too.
Yeah. And with that, the 2024 summer season comes to a close. But that also means there's brand new Pangea reptile deals.
Now is a prime time to buy a crested gecko because they have 15 to 20% off discounts on tricolors, dark-based, yellow-based, and red-based cresties throughout the month of September. Both of our new Caledonian geckos love eating from their ledges, so if you want to give them a try, Pangea's acrylic ledges will be on sale along with a 12-pack of their silicone cups.
And no surprise here, they will be offering deals on various isopods, so it's a great time to refresh your bioactive enclosures at PangeaReptile.com.
But yeah, anyway, so Saturday we had those 3 guests. They were phenomenal. We love all of you. Then on Sunday we had Catalia, who we also adore. And then we had Adeline Robinson Art.
Yes.
And so, you know, the 2 different perspectives from that was also really cool. And so it was just so good. I just loved getting to chat with all of them, honestly.
It was really enjoyable. Absolutely fantastic. Would chat with them all again.
Truly, yeah.
Always enjoy seeing them at shows and like their booths and everything else.
And I think that's just an important note too, is all of these women are also people that we have seen at shows multiple times now.
Yeah.
We've built up a little bit of like friendship and rapport with all of them too. And so it was kind of, an easy decision.
Yeah, it would be weird to like not weird, but another level of like not even uncomfortable, a challenge. Let's go with a challenge of interviewing someone where you don't have that rapport.
Because
right?
That was, we knew that we would be a little uncomfortable as interviewers just because that's not.
But you also know like they're a nice person.
Yes.
They're not going to like do something.
We've had multiple conversations with all of them. We all know that they are great conversationalists, really sweet girls, easy to talk to. Like we knew that going in, which also helped us feel a little bit more secure as well.
Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Saturday was definitely busier than Sunday. Yes. We did the live shows from 12 to 1:30 local time, and then 12 to 1 local time as well. And then I feel like it was like 1:30 to like maybe 2:30.
Honestly.
Like right after the show, things like picked up.
We timed that so well. Because that, like, it was
strategic,
100%. But like the 2 to like 3 time frame, or like 1 to 3, really is like the after lunch rush is when there were so many people coming down our aisle. Yep. I was like, whoa, okay, we can like this is the focus until this. So what kind of slows down.
Ended up happening is I'm pulling them from the aisle, right? 100%. And being like, hey, do you listen to podcasts? Yeah. Hey, like starting the conversation. They seem interested in the podcast. And then I would just like
pass them to me.
Yeah.
And then I would keep talking to them, show them the shirts, talk through some of our topics, ask what reptile, like we would
have conversations.
Like you were the first like entry point, and then I was the second conversation, which was very comfortable for me. Yeah. That's my comfort zone.
So if you're talking sales lingo, I was the lead generator, and then like you were the closer, right?
100%.
So it was, but it's very complimentary to our personalities and to our strengths. And we talked about that beforehand too.
Yes, we did.
I was like, are you going to be okay if I'm like, just like talking to people?
And I literally told her, I was like, please, because I can't.
Yeah, sometimes when we're like attending shows, like I'll strike up conversations and I can tell she gets a little like, you know.
And okay, hold on. Let's be so for real. I am a very loud, confident, like bold person. It's just for whatever reason, approaching someone in a salesy way is like, or in a way where it's like, I want you to come and talk about my business is so uncomfortable for me. I don't know why, because I would go up to any random person and be like, hey, I like your shirt. What do you do? Like I would do those things. But for whatever reason, the fact that it's like pulling them in to something that's about me makes me so anxious.
Because I was going to say, because it's not like you're pulling them in to like sell them something or for your business. You're just striking up a conversation.
It just doesn't feel that way to me. And I just wish it did. And so she is so much better at that. So when
it's my happy place.
When we talked about it, I was like, please do that. Please. Because I will be standing there feeling uncomfy.
Yeah. So it worked out really well. So Saturday was fantastic. I think we sold like 14, 15 shirts, something like that.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere.
So it was good. So yeah, I think a lot of the vendors said the show was slow and they were asking us like how we felt about it. And we're like, we don't have any point of reference.
We thought this was great.
Yeah.
Don't know if it was. For us, it was great.
The vendor said it was slow, but you know, we'll let you know next time we vend to show how it compares. But I think that was good. Then we ended up getting dinner with Pangea Reptile, which is obviously a sponsor of our podcast. And then I do my kit with them. You've got stuff cooking as well.
Stuff in the works. TBD.
Yeah. So that was always enjoy hanging out with the Pangea team.
No, they're the best.
Sunday was day 2.
Yes.
So when did Sunday start?
I was
11.
Yes, I think it was 11 a.m. There wasn't VIP on Sunday, was there?
No, yeah. So it was 11 a.m. and then vendors could come at 10.
That's what it was. Yes. Jeez. Yes.
Yes. So Sunday, I don't know if you felt this, but like was way slower.
Way slower, significantly slower.
And like we knew that as like attendees that Sunday was slower, but it was like significantly slower.
Yes. And as a vendor, you could tell and you could feel it, which was also good because another side of this is that, you know, we want to run around and get content too for our social channels and for everything. So, you know, it was kind of nice that it was a little slower on Sunday because we could go and kind of do a couple of other little things, but it was definitely a significant
I think we only sold like 4 shirts, 5 shirts on
4 or 5 max, I think,
on Sunday. So significantly slower. I will say being content creators while vending is like
hard.
a really big challenge.
Really, really, really hard. Like the content that I got is minimal. So
yeah, I think I have like 2 clips of a snake, 1 of a tortoise.
Yeah. It just, I mean,
Chameleon.
And I think this is the first show that I have been to since 2017 that I did not see every booth.
No, I could not tell you what animals were there.
No.
I did not purchase anything.
Nope.
I did not get to go through all the aisles or booths or anything. Like, it was a very different experience. And, like, as I was trying to vlog it, I was like, okay, this is more from, like, a vending, like, point of view. But, like, it was very odd.
It was super odd and just not what we're used to, because typically when we're at shows, we are running around getting content the whole time.
Yeah.
So it was very, very different in that regard.
So if you had asked me like, oh, what kind of animals were there? Or like, I was like, don't know. Lizards, snakes,
Yep.
turtles.
Yep.
I don't.
Couldn't tell you.
I don't know.
Couldn't tell you. There were, I mean, I did see a few cool things. One thing that I've been seeing at shows a little bit more, sorry, mild tangent, but is a little bit more of like the oddities, the like taxidermy and like wet specimens and stuff like that.
That tracks.
I almost got an octopus leg, but then by the time I came back to their booth, at the end of the day, they were packed up. So that was like the one thing that I was going to buy that I didn't buy.
This is also a pet peeve of mine. When like booths will close up early.
And they all did.
Yeah.
They all did.
So the show ends at 4.
Yeah.
And my thing is like 3:45, 3:40, even like somewhere in there, I'm like, pack away. That's fine. But if you're packing up before 3:30,
what are you doing?
I'm still shopping.
Yeah. Truly. No, I was like so sad that I missed that octopus leg. I was really sad about it.
Yeah. This reminds me of the time I went to the Wendy's drive-thru and it was like 7 p.m. and I wanted a Frosty. And they're like, sorry, we closed down our Frosty machine. At 7 p.m. This is peak Frosty time.
Well, yeah. Evenings are peak dessert time. What do you mean?
They were already like closing up like their Frosty machine. Not that it was broken. No.
I'm not going to lie.
And we're done.
I would have been like a little pissed off. That's really annoying.
I only went there
for a Frosty. Yeah, I would have been a little mad.
Similar feeling.
A little bit mad.
So anyways, we waited till like 4 o'clock to start shutting down, but we obviously don't have animals to pack, and like so mindful and respectful of like people who have to like hit the road to get home and like everything else.
There's all kinds of factors with that. So like I get it to an extent.
Just for my shopping purposes.
But I was a little sad. I missed out on my little octopus leg.
No, I get that. Yeah, so maybe we can kind of wrap up with like closing down of things. You were, I know, running around getting like...
I was running around getting content and then got cornered talking to a breeder. So I was like a few minutes late. So by the time I came over, you guys already had the banner, or not the banner, the disco wall, like about half taken down. And so at that point we were just scrambling. Logan was running and getting things into the car.
Yeah.
But we were out of there by like
30 minutes.
4:30?
Yeah.
It was quick.
30 minutes. Now granted, when we set up, it was just the 2 of us.
Yes.
When we took it down,
it was 4 of us.
Logan was there. My mom was there.
Yes.
So like we had help and everything.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic. But yeah,
breakdown. Shout out to Logan and your mom.
Oh,
because they're pretty wonderful.
Big helpers.
Specifically your mom, because I know that she listens.
She does.
We adore you.
Every single episode. Thanks, Mom. No, it was super appreciative of their help for the whole weekend.
Truly. Couldn't have done it without them. Really.
And the tear down, I think, was like so easy.
Yeah.
Also, because we didn't snap those like disco wall pieces as hard as we did. Yeah. So those were a lot easier. Yep. And my mom was so cute. She's like, I don't know, these are pretty hard to get off.
And you're like, you don't understand.
I was like, they're a lot easier than
they were so hard. The first time we were yanking them. It was so bad.
Yeah.
I like cut I think it actually just healed, but I literally have scabs left.
My little spot from when I cut myself. Yeah. So that was, I think, a lot faster and smoother. Everything. So
lessons were learned.
Yes. So yeah, it was pretty easy for us to wrap up and call it a weekend.
Yeah. Plus we have the benefit of not taking any animals home and dealing with all that.
Yes.
So I will say that is a huge plus for us.
Yes. One thing we should mention, we were not profitable.
No.
For anyone wondering how lucrative expos were, we sold about 20 t-shirts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, which is not nothing.
No, like don't get me wrong. We made money on the t-shirts, but we did not make what we spent on the t-shirts.
Correct.
Or the booth as a whole.
The booth as a whole.
Yes.
Yeah, because you have to pay a fee to like
You have to pay a fee to vend. Then because this was our first show, we had all the very first time setup costs, right? We had like the sparkle wall, we had the neon sign,
literally everything.
We had the banner, all the details, all the stickers, all the shirts, everything. So like we were certainly not profitable.
We were not profitable, but we had a blast.
But we had a blast. It's an investment. We love this brand and are so proud of this podcast.
Yes.
And we freaking love our listeners, and getting to meet all of you guys.
It's absolutely fantastic.
And it's
worth
cool
it
too, because I feel like we're starting to like almost get like people who have come by and said hi to us multiple times now. So we're like starting to get to know some of you guys a little bit better, which is so fun.
And have like continued conversations, right? Of like, oh, what happened? Like, what's the update on this animal that you got at the last show? And like, I actually saw someone who I like, I was like, hey, do you listen to podcasts? And she actually had never had a pet reptile.
Yes, there were a few.
And then I was sitting at one of the booths and she comes up to the booth to like get some like bugs or whatever, or like what, and she had in her hand a ball python.
That's so cool.
Literally got her first reptile at that show.
That makes me tear up a little bit.
And you
That's
know what
so
kind
sweet.
of ball python it was?
Was it the banana pied?
No.
Which one?
It was a normal, aka
the wild type.
Which was just so cute.
I love that.
And like, I don't think she knew the significance that it was like, plus no one calls ball pythons wild type. They all call them normals.
Right.
I call them wild types.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
that's the technical term.
Yes.
But.
So anyways, so she had her wild type normal ball python, and that was just extra special.
There was at least one girl who had told me earlier in the day that she was potentially going to get a crested gecko, and then she came back by the end of the day and had a crested gecko.
See?
I was so excited for her. It was so cool.
So special.
So just another note, if or when you guys ever see us at shows, if you get an animal, please come show it to us.
Oh, of course.
Because that was like,
we are not buying anything, but we can live vicariously through you.
It was literally like one of my favorite moments was when like people came up and showed us the reptile. So that's easily a highlight as well.
Yes. Whenever I saw someone with a bag, I was like, what's in the bag?
What is it?
What'd you get?
Show me that critter.
What'd you get? Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun. We also saw like a dad and their two kids. Like one got a hognose and the little sulcata tortoise, and like
I know.
It's just really special to see people kind of like starting their reptile journeys.
No, it's so cool. And I mean, I don't know, when I was that age and when I was like wanting reptiles and stuff like that, I didn't know anybody who wanted that. You know, it was not weird for me to want reptiles, but it was unusual. And so seeing kids be like so supported by like their moms or their families or whatever, like it was really special.
Yeah, there was also another girl who had like a bear dragon shirt. If that jogs your memory,
I think so.
And her mom was joking how like she's always like the reptile friend, and how we were saying like whenever people introduce us, that's like, oh, this is my friend. She has a yellow anaconda. Yeah. Oh, this is my friend. She has chameleons. Like that's how we just like get introduced. I remember this
conversation now.
And you could just see the moment that like she was like, me too.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, that's what this is all about.
100%.
Right. Is to like build this community of people where like they feel seen and a part of something bigger, where like their friends or family or whoever, while they are huge supporters, they don't have that me too moment the same way that we can experience it.
Well, and there's just something super special when you click with somebody who just shares your one unique like obscure interest, like, because I feel like everybody goes through this, whatever your, unique little hobby is, like anybody goes through this of like, you feel a little bit alone in it for the first time.
Yep.
And that's the whole reason that we wanted to start this podcast, is to give, reptile girlies a space to just feel all of that, and to find other people who feel that way so that they don't feel as alone, and
to have that in person, because we feel all the time with you guys, like in our comments and like our DMs and everything else, like when you guys tag us in your stories, like we send each other screenshots all the time. The stories that people will sometimes tag us in of them actually sitting and drinking coffee and watching, because that was one of the things we had kind of like talked about, is what did we want for like the vibe of the podcast. Yeah.
And we want it to feel like we're sitting together, two girls chatting about our unique hobby, and you're just pulling up a chair, right? Like having your coffee. And so it's so cool getting tagged in those, and we feel that all the time on social media, but to have it in person is a whole other experience.
Yes. So thank you guys again for anyone who stopped by to say hi. We did want to let you guys know that we have some things coming up. So do you want to kind of tell them?
Yes, I do. We are going back to AnimalCon.
Whoop, whoop.
Woo woo. So that is coming up on, is it October 5th and 6th? I believe so.
Whatever the Saturday, Sunday is. Is that the 5th and 6th?
Yes, it is, because my wedding anniversary is the 7th and it is that Monday.
There you go. 5th and 6th it is.
Yes. So we are going to Orlando, Florida.
Yep.
We are very excited. I believe it's at the same venue it was last year, which was amazing. So
yeah, beautiful hotel.
It'll be really, really good to check that out. And one of the cool things about AnimalCon, just so that you guys know, if you haven't ever been, or if, you haven't even heard of it, anything along those lines, AnimalCon is a really, really cool space, not only for animal lovers, reptile lovers. I believe they're trying to make it animals as a whole.
Yep.
So it's pretty much any animal lovers.
Fish, birds, cats, dogs.
Like wildlife, everything. It's really, really cool because it's just a little gathering of all of those people and all of those content creators. So if there are a lot of animal content creators that you love and that you watch and listen to, coming to AnimalCon is a really cool experience to not only get to meet those people, but then you also get to listen to them on different panels. They do panels every day, and these are panels, they have, demos of enclosure building. They have all these different things. And different panels about conserving wildlife, if that's something you're interested in, all these things. So you can come and listen to some of your favorite creators talk. And that's not even just getting to meet them too.
Yeah. And the other half of it is if you're interested in being a content creator or you're a content creator yourself, this is where we can share best practices, tips and tricks, things that are going on in the industry, things that are going on different platforms. How can you take your content creation and turn it into a business, a really great networking opportunity, an opportunity to do collabs. So this will be a lot of fun. Also, AnimalCon is like when we really dove into like becoming like a podcast.
This podcast was born at AnimalCon.
Yeah.
Literally.
Pretty much. So this is our
that was where we
anniversary.
Sat down in our hotel room and we're like, are we going to do this? I think we're going to do this.
Yeah. And we sat down with a game plan, and then we launched in December. So very excited. I do think they also do a Friday event.
I think so too. Yeah. I think
a
you're
VIP
right.
Friday thing. So I think it's really like a 3-day Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You're right. I forget about the Friday aspect.
I know. It's a little unique because most shows are like 2 days. So we will be there. Please say hi to us if you see us.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'll obviously post about it and talk about it and blah, blah, blah.
You'll see lots of stuff.
People have also been asking us if we're going to do October Tinley. We will not be doing that because it's the weekend right after AnimalCon, and that's too much.
we're tired. we're sleepy. We need to relax.
We only have so much PTO. So
that too. Yes.
We do have a day job. So we will not be attending Tinley October, but we will, and we do have plans for Tinley in March.
Yes, we do. So spring Tinley, we will be there. We are very excited. More to come on that later, but that'll be good. And we haven't been to Tinley since 2021.
Yes.
So I'm very excited to go back.
Very much looking for that. And it's also St. Patrick's Day weekend. So
Woo! I really want to go see the Green River in Chicago.
So I think that'll be fun as well. So those are just some shows we have upcoming. We'll post if we have,
anything else
pop up. Yeah. But that's what we have planned currently. Yes. So I think just like a fun little segment. I know we've been talking your guys' ear off about expos, but we want to wrap up with just a short segment of Are You the Type of Girl To? And this time it's going to be Are You the Type of Girl to bring a friend who's not into reptiles to an expo?
A non-reptile keeper.
Because surprisingly, there was a lot of people who we got to chat with where it was one friend who was into reptiles and the other that was being the supportive bestie.
Yeah, they were just playing the support role, showing up for their person, which we love a supportive bestie. I mean, we've all been there.
So it prompts the question, would you bring a friend to a reptile expo who wasn't into reptiles? So what's your answer?
I have done it. I have done it many times, including my own husband.
And then a rite of passage.
Yeah, he's got to come to at least a few. And he had a wonderful time this weekend, which was a very different experience than past reptile expos. But so I've invited him before, and then I've also had all of my high school guy friends come with me one time before. And as much as I loved that, and as much as I love them, and as much as I love my husband, no, I'm not. I'm not the type to bring a non-reptile bestie
And
to my show.
Why is that?
Because it hinders me getting to do what I want to do, which is run around and see everything.
Yeah. I'm trying. It's kind of like when you go to a museum for like, say that's for example, like a history museum.
Yeah.
But you're not into history and you're with someone who's like super into history and wants to read all the plaques and take their sweet time.
Exactly.
And you're just like moving along. But then if you're the person who likes to read all the plaques, the person you're with is like rushing you. Right?
Well, I wouldn't even say rushing because like none of my friends or my husband have ever rushed me in that way.
I just feel the pressure.
There's a little bit of pressure. And there's also like, I love Logan so much, but I always have to like answer all of his questions. And it's like, I already know all of these animals and I'm having to explain all of them to you. And that is taking away from me talking to this breeder about the animal that I'm interested in and this and that. And it just adds another layer of like, not necessarily things I have to do, but like things I have to explain or like, there's just another layer and I just don't like it.
I would say yes, I am the type of girl who would want to bring a non-reptile friend if it's a 2-day thing. Because I would love to answer all those questions and bring someone along. But to your point, I still want to like see everything and get my shopping done and everything. So if I couldn't swing it all on like a Saturday, then I'd want to come back on like a Sunday and like
100%
get all my shopping. Also being a content creator is a little different.
There's a factor to that too.
Because like we do get recognized at expos. We do spend time filming content. We do have relationships with vendors. Yes. And it is a little weird to be like sitting there talking to someone for like 10-15 minutes when the person next to you is like,
and that's
no idea what's going on.
That's probably like a better explanation of my experience when Logan's just tagging along, because then I see him in the back of, you know, like from my peripheral and he's just like hanging out and I've been talking to this vendor for like 30 minutes and I feel bad for him and I'm like, well, I guess I gotta go, you know, and then it kind of,
I see what you're saying.
Even though the man has never rushed me, never. He's really good about that.
I know. You just feel...
I just feel the pressure.
Yeah. No, I would absolutely love to bring a non-reptile friend. I haven't in a long time. None of my friends are like too keen on like wanting to go spend their Saturday at a reptile expo. I'm like, that's fine. That's why I have you. So, you know, we would love to know from you guys. Are you the type of girl or guy to want to bring a non-reptile friend to an expo? If you have, would love to hear your comments.
And I think it's really great when people do that also because it's introducing people to the hobby. Yes. Because even if somebody might not, you know, think that they're interested, it might change their mind.
And there were quite a few like that
100%,
at the show.
100%.
Or they're like, this is my reptile friend. Yeah. I don't have any, but I think I might want a snake. Or I think I might want a gecko. Mm-hmm. And so their friend is like, cool, let me show you what this is all about. Let me show
you my world.
Yes. Is that an Aladdin reference? Magic Carpet Ride? I got you. No, so like I think that's really special. And then there's plenty of people. Like there was one girl that was like, save me, because we've been here for 5 hours and she keeps da-da-da. And you could tell she was just
she's done. She's checked out. Yeah.
And she has zero interest in keeping reptiles and was 100% there.
Ready to leave.
For their friend. Yes. And I think that's also fantastic.
Yeah. My reasons for no have a lot to do with me being a content creator and all these things and the time constraints and all that, which not everybody has. So like if I wasn't a content creator, I would probably bring a lot more friends, honestly.
Yes. Yeah.
So it all plays a role, but I think it's really special to bring people like that because it helps, you know, destigmatize reptiles, which I'm all for all the time. And you might bring them into the hobby. You never know.
Also, your friends get to see something that you're passionate about and you're excited for. And like, that's cool too.
And let me just throw this in there too. I am the type of friend that would love to go to a unique hobby show for one of my friends and see their world. I would freaking love that. Yeah. So I think that's like an interesting perspective too.
Yeah. In the meantime, we'll just go together. Yeah. And we are like two peas in a pod.
You are my reptile expo person because we just have this great understanding of like, hey, I see something that I'm interested in. I'm going to run over there. I'll see you in 5.
Like, and we don't even have to say anything to each other. We're just like in lockstep.
Yes.
And like, I'll film it and then you'll film it, or I can tell I'm in your shot and I'm like, oop, let my shadow is like in the way of this, and then I'm like, hey, you get this angle, I'll get this one. Like, we are just in lockstep.
We're so in sync at Reptile Expos. It's like my favorite thing.
It's kind of like a dance.
It really is.
Like, it's a synchronized dance that we're just like zigzagging our way through aisles.
Especially, I felt it so much at LA Pet Fair, because we would be walking down one aisle and I would veer over here and you would veer over here, and then we would meet back in the middle as we went.
A word.
It was crazy. It was like, I was like, we're just really on this. I'm loving it.
We've done it a few times, so we know.
Exactly.
We know how it goes. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for coming out to an expo. Hopefully we can see you guys at an expo near you. We'd love to see you in person. Hopefully you can get a free sticker.
Yeah.
You know.
And if you came by the booth, if you bought a shirt, if you got a sticker, we love you so much. We are so appreciative.
Yes.
Truly had the best time, and just hope to see you guys at more shows.
Yes. And at this point, all the merch is available on our website. Or it's like our merch shop online.
Yeah, the merch shop. It's in our link on all of our socials.
We still have all the shirts still though.
Yeah, we'll be bringing those to Tinley.
Yeah. So these will be different shirts than those shirts until we can figure out how to get them on. Don't worry about it. If you want the shirt, it's on our merch site, so feel free to check it out. So otherwise, thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can follow the podcast at the Wild Type Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me, Neptune the Chameleon.
Lyssa's Lizards everywhere.
And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Bye, girlies.